Welcome back to our channel Ultra Rare Coins History. If you are a coin collector, watch video carefully. I will tell you about coins that make you a millionaire overnight. Top 1. We're going to uncover one such incredible story. The story of the 2014 United Kingdom Elizabeth II 1 penny coin. At first glance, the 2014 1 penny coin may seem completely ordinary. It's small, copper-plated, and almost too common to even notice. You've probably seen it rolling around in drawers, lying forgotten in wallets, or jingling inside jars filled with spare change. But what if I told you that among these seemingly ordinary pennies hides a version so rare, so unique, that collectors around the world are willing to pay millions to own it? Yes, you heard that right. One of these 2014 UK Elizabeth II 1 penny coins is valued at an astonishing $18 million. To understand why this coin is so special, we have to travel back in time and explore the story behind its creation. The 1 penny coin has a long and proud history in Britain, one that stretches back centuries. But the version we hold today is part of a much more modern evolution, one that began in 1971, when the UK officially adopted the decimal currency system. The traditional pennies and shillings of old Britain were replaced by new decimal coins, with the 1 penny taking its place as the smallest denomination of the modern age. Now fast forward to 2014, a time when Queen Elizabeth II had already become one of the most recognized and longest-reigning monarchs in British history. The Royal Mint, known worldwide for its precision and artistry, continued to produce coins bearing her dignified portrait. The 2014 1 penny coin was among them, minted in vast numbers for circulation. But not all of them were created equal. To the casual observer, each 2014 penny looks identical, the obverse side featuring the timeless portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Ian Rank Broadley, who had been responsible for her image on UK coins since 1998. The Queen's portrait faces to the right, wearing the girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, an elegant depiction that symbolizes both strength and grace. The reverse side, however, carries the distinctive design introduced in 2008 as part of the Royal Mint's bold redesign of UK coinage. In this newer design, the penny no longer displayed the crown portcullis, the traditional emblem once used by Parliament, but instead featured a portion of the royal shield. When combined with the other coins from the 1 penny up to the 50-pence piece, the shield formed a complete image, a beautiful, unified symbol of the nation's heritage. This design, created by Matthew Dent, brought a modern and artistic touch to Britain's coins while still maintaining a strong sense of national identity. The 2014 1 penny coin, therefore, represents more than just currency. It's a tiny piece of national symbolism, a piece of art and history in your pocket. But what makes this particular year so special? Why is one version of this coin worth millions, while others are worth just 1 penny? The answer lies in a fascinating combination of minting quirks, limited runs, and collector obsession. You see, in 2014, the Royal Mint was in the process of updating its minting technology. During that transition, a small number of 1 penny coins were struck using experimental blanks and dies that were not intended for circulation. Some of these test pieces found their way into public hands, completely by accident. And that's where the story of the multi-million 2014 penny begins. According to collectors and numismatic experts, a handful of these test coins differ subtly from the standard circulation versions. The differences may seem minor to the untrained eye, but to serious collectors, they make all the difference in the world. One of the most significant distinctions lies in the metal composition and the shine of the finish. While standard 2014 pennies were made from copper-plated steel, a few test strikes were minted in a bronze alloy similar to that used before 1992. These rare bronze examples have a warmer, deeper tone and a slightly different magnetic property. They're non-magnetic, unlike the regular steel ones. Another key detail is the crispness of the strike. The lettering and the Queen's portrait on these rare pennies are noticeably sharper, showing a level of detail that exceeds normal circulation quality. Such coins were likely part of an internal trial batch used to test the new press settings before full production began, and somehow, a few slipped through the Mint's quality controls. Only a handful are known to exist today, and their exact number remains a mystery. Some experts suggest fewer than 10 may have survived, while others believe the total could be as low as 3. Whatever the truth, the scarcity of these coins has driven collectors into a frenzy. Auctions featuring even a single verified specimen of this bronze 2014 one penny have seen bidding wars reach astronomical levels. But it's not just the rarity that adds to its value. The year 2014 holds deep emotional and historical significance for collectors of Queen Elizabeth II coins. It marked one of the last few years before the Royal Mint unveiled the fifth and final portrait of Her Majesty in 2015. This means the 2014 coin represents the final chapter in the long era of the Ian Rank Broadley portrait, a design that had graced Britain's coins for nearly 2 decades. To many, owning one of these rare 2014 pennies is like holding a symbolic farewell to a golden age of coinage. The Queen's depiction on this coin exudes timeless majesty. Every curve, every detail of her tiara, every delicate engraving of her hair, represents the height of modern minting artistry. Collectors around the world revere this portrait for its lifelike expression and its balance between realism and elegance. When combined with the unique shield design on the reverse, the 2014 penny becomes not just a coin but a miniature work of art, one that perfectly captures the spirit of the United Kingdom. And yet, as fascinating as the artistry is, it's the story of discovery that truly captures people's imagination. Picture this: somewhere in Britain, a person goes through their change, perhaps after a visit to the corner shop, and notices something different about one small, coppery coin. The color seems slightly off, the shine a little warmer. They hold it up to a magnet, and to their surprise, it doesn't stick. At first, they think nothing of it. But curiosity gets the better of them, and after a bit of research, they realize they might be holding one of the rarest modern British coins ever minted. Stories like these have surfaced time and again in the numismatic community. People finding life-changing treasures hidden in plain sight, in their wallets, drawers, or even in change given at a supermarket. And each story adds fuel to the legend of the 2014 one penny. Coin dealers have since confirmed that these rare specimens command extraordinary prices in private sales, with some estimates placing them at well over $18 million, depending on condition and provenance. Now, you might be wondering, how could a coin worth 1 penny possibly be valued at millions? It's a fair question, and the answer lies in the passion and psychology of collecting. In the world of numismatics, rarity and demand dictate price far more than face value. When a coin is both historically important and extremely scarce, it becomes more than money, it becomes art, investment, and history combined. For a collector, owning a coin like this isn't just about possession, it's about connection. It's about holding in your hand a piece of time, a link to the legacy of Queen Elizabeth II and the centuries-old tradition of British coinage. It's about being part of a select group of individuals who can claim to own something almost no one else in the world does. That sense of exclusivity and historical significance drives prices sky high. The mystique around the 2014 penny also owes much to the enduring popularity of Elizabeth II coinage. With her passing marking the end of an era, coins bearing her likeness have surged in demand. Collectors from across the globe, from Britain to the United States, from Canada to Australia, are now racing to secure any coinage connected to her remarkable reign. And within that rush, certain pieces, like the 2014 penny, have taken on near mythical status. Top 2. Today, we're about to uncover one of the most fascinating stories in British coinage, a tiny copper-plated piece that holds a value beyond imagination. This is the story of the United Kingdom Elizabeth II one penny from 1989, a coin that looks so ordinary, yet hides a secret worth a staggering $38 million. Yes, you heard that right, $38 million for a single penny. How could something so small be so valuable? Let's travel back in time and unfold the mystery behind this royal masterpiece. The year was 1989. Margaret Thatcher was still Prime Minister, the Berlin Wall was falling, and the world was changing faster than ever before. Britain stood proudly in the midst of global transformation, and even in the Royal Mint, subtle changes were underway. The penny, one of the most humble coins in circulation, was quietly continuing its journey through history. But this particular year's issue, the 1989 Elizabeth II 1 penny, would go on to become one of the rarest and most sought-after coins ever struck in the United Kingdom. At first glance, it's just a small copper-plated steel coin, circular in shape, weighing around 3.56 grams, and measuring 20.3 millimeters in diameter. Nothing about it screams fortune. But collectors know that value doesn't always come from appearance. It comes from history, rarity, and the stories etched into the metal itself. The 1989 penny sits at the crossroads of change, a year that marked both continuity and transition for British coinage. The obverse of the coin, as always, features the portrait of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, designed by the renowned sculptor Raphael Maklauf. His design had been in use since 1985, and the 1989 penny proudly displays this iconic third definitive portrait. The Queen is shown wearing the George IV state diadem, a crown set with diamonds, pearls, crosses, and floral emblems, symbolizing the unity of the nations of the United Kingdom. The engraving around the rim reads, Elizabeth II DG Reg. FD, followed by the year 1989, which stands for De Grazia Regina Fidei Defensor, meaning, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. This portrait is elegant and stately, capturing the dignity and authority of the monarch at that time. Maklauf's design was notable for its smoother contours and refined style, making the Queen appear regal yet approachable. It was meant to represent a monarch deeply connected to both her traditions and her people. For coin enthusiasts, the 1989 penny marks one of the later appearances of this portrait before the next change in design in the late 1990s. Turning the coin over, the reverse side reveals the classic design by Christopher Ironside, one of the most beloved designs in British numismatic history. It features the crown portcullis with chains, a design that dates back centuries to the Palace of Westminster. The portcullis, a heavy grilled gate once used to guard castles, became a powerful symbol of Parliament and the strength of the nation. Above it sits a majestic crown, while below, the denomination, 1 penny, is inscribed with grace and balance. But there's something about the 1989 issue that sets it apart. While millions of pennies were struck that year, a tiny fraction of them were produced with subtle differences, errors, mint variations, or unique compositions that turned a common coin into a numismatic legend. Some 1989 pennies were struck on bronze planchets, the same type used before the 1992 transition to copper-plated steel. Others showed striking misalignments or double dies, creating tiny imperfections that collectors obsess over. In coin collecting, such variations can mean everything. A small deviation can elevate a penny's value from 1 cent to millions. To understand the rarity of the 1989 penny, you need to understand the history of the penny itself. The modern decimal penny was introduced in 1971 as part of the United Kingdom's decimalization process, replacing the old pre-decimal system that had been in place for centuries. The new 1 penny coin was equivalent to 1/100th of a pound and was initially made of bronze. By 1989, the design had remained largely the same since its introduction, but what made each year special was the story behind its minting. 1989 was not a year of great redesigns or revaluations for the penny, which is why so few people paid attention to it at the time. But decades later, collectors began to notice something unusual. Certain specimens from that year exhibited distinct minting qualities, sharper strikes, deeper reliefs, and an exceptional finish. Some experts believe that a limited batch of these coins may have been produced under experimental conditions or as part of presentation sets that never reached the general public. Others suspect that a few special proof quality strikes may have escaped the Royal Mint accidentally, a numismatic mystery that continues to intrigue historians and collectors alike. Now, let's imagine the journey of one of these coins. Minted in 1989 at the Royal Mint's facility in Llantrisant, South Wales, it would have been struck with precision under the watchful eyes of technicians ensuring quality. Yet perhaps one coin, or a small batch of them, bore a difference, a variation so subtle that no one noticed it for decades. It was released into circulation like any other penny, passing through hands, pockets, and purses, surviving countless exchanges, unaware that it held a secret worth millions. Collectors first began to recognize the unique qualities of the 1989 penny in the early 2000s, when rare coin forums and catalogs started reporting unusual versions appearing in private collections. Some were discovered in proof sets, others in circulation. The differences in metal composition and die characteristics made these coins stand out. Numismatic experts began testing and authenticating them, confirming that a few of these coins were indeed unique strikes, perhaps test coins, prototypes, or unlisted variations. By the 2010s, demand for rare UK pennies was skyrocketing. Coin collecting had moved from a niche hobby to a booming global market, with investors from around the world willing to pay astronomical prices for the rarest specimens. When the first confirmed 1989 Elizabeth II 1 penny of the special type surfaced at auction, the bidding was intense. What started as a few £100s quickly climbed into the millions. Collectors realized they were not just buying a coin, they were buying a piece of living history, a tangible symbol of Britain's heritage and craftsmanship. But why is the 1989 penny so particularly loved by collectors? It's because it represents a balance between old-world charm and modern minting precision. The late 1980s were a bridge between two eras of coinage. The designs still carried traditional British motifs, crowns, portcullises, royal portraits, but the production methods were becoming more sophisticated. This makes 1989 a transitional year, and coins from transition periods often become the most valuable in history. Beyond its physical characteristics, there's also a deeper cultural appeal. The image of Queen Elizabeth II on this coin connects it to one of the longest and most stable reigns in British history. The penny becomes not just currency, but a story of continuity, of a nation that held onto its identity while evolving through global change. Each tiny detail, from the Queen's diadem to the portcullis chains, tells a story of tradition, unity, and endurance. For coin collectors, the thrill lies in discovery. Imagine sorting through an old jar of change, or opening a forgotten coin album, and suddenly spotting a 1989 penny that looks just a bit different. The color, the shine, the texture. Your heart would skip a beat as you realize you might be holding a piece of British history worth more than any treasure chest. It's this element of surprise, of hidden value, that keeps collectors passionate. Over the years, only a handful of verified 1989 Elizabeth II 1 penny coins of the rare type have surfaced. Their values have grown exponentially with each auction. Collectors from Europe, Asia, and America all compete to own one of these elusive coins. Even private museums have started showcasing them as examples of how a small coin can tell a vast story of art, craftsmanship, and historical continuity. Experts note that what makes these coins so exceptional isn't just their scarcity, but their flawless preservation. Some have survived in almost mint state, with their copper-plated surfaces gleaming like new despite being over 3 decades old. Others show fascinating patinas, giving them a timeless, antique beauty. The subtle tones of reddish gold and deep brown seem to reflect the era they were born in, an age of transformation and resilience. Imagine standing under the soft light of an auction room. The murmurs fade as the auctioneer lifts a small coin sealed in glass. Top 3. The United Kingdom's 1981 Elizabeth II 1 penny. At first glance, it might seem like just another copper coin that once jingled in the pockets of millions. But as we peel back the layers of history, design, and rarity, we uncover a remarkable tale that transforms this small piece of metal into a treasure worth an astonishing $42 million. The story begins in the early 1980s, a decade of change and challenge for the United Kingdom. The country was adjusting to new economic realities, industrial reforms, and a cultural shift that defined modern Britain. In 1981, Queen Elizabeth II had already been on the throne for nearly 3 decades, symbolizing continuity and stability in a world of constant transformation. Every coin minted during her reign carried her dignified portrait, a mark of national pride and identity. The 1981 1 penny was more than a coin. It was a symbol of Britain's enduring spirit. Minted in bronze, it continued a long tradition that dated back to the introduction of decimal currency in 1971. The coin's face value might have been small, but the craftsmanship and symbolism it represented were immense. At the center of its design lies a stunning depiction of the portcullis, a historic emblem associated with the Palace of Westminster. The portcullis, crowned and finely detailed, represents parliamentary democracy and the British government's strength. Its precision, depth, and clarity make the 1981 edition one of the most admired among collectors. On the obverse side, the youthful and graceful portrait of Queen Elizabeth II faces right, designed by Arnold Machin, one of the most celebrated sculptors of the 20th century. This effigy had first appeared in 1968 and continued to adorn UK coins until 1984. It portrays the Queen wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, a gift she received in 1947, and one of her most iconic jewelry pieces. Machin's design perfectly balanced realism and majesty, presenting Elizabeth II as both regal and relatable, a timeless image that resonated with millions across the Commonwealth. While the design remained consistent, the year 1981 holds a particularly intriguing place in numismatic history. Official records show that the Royal Mint struck only a limited number of 1-penny coins for circulation that year. The majority of the 1981 pennies were produced specifically for coin sets, not for everyday use. This means that very few 1981 pennies ever entered public circulation, making genuine circulated examples exceptionally hard to find today. Collectors often refer to it as a phantom circulation year, a year that technically exists in mint records but rarely in pocket change. Over the decades, this scarcity has made the 1981 1-penny a prime target for collectors and historians alike. Many enthusiasts spent years searching through jars, drawers, and old purses, hoping to find that elusive date. Stories circulated across collector communities of people discovering near-uncirculated specimens tucked away in forgotten coin sets, unaware that they were holding something extraordinary. The composition of the 1981 penny itself adds another layer of fascination. Struck in bronze, it consists of 97% copper, 2.5% zinc, and 0.5% tin, a blend that gives it that distinctive warm reddish hue. However, the early 1980s marked the beginning of a shift in the metal composition of coins due to rising copper prices. By the early 1990s, the UK transitioned to copper-plated steel pennies, making the earlier all-bronze issues, like the 1981 coin, even more desirable. The tactile difference, the weight, texture, and tone, is something true collectors deeply appreciate. But what truly elevates the 1981 penny into legendary status is not just its beauty or metal, but its story of rarity and mystery. Rumors have persisted that a small batch of error coins was produced during that year. Some believe that mis-struck pennies or test strikes intended for quality control were accidentally released into circulation. These coins, bearing microscopic variations, slight misalignments, double strikes, or subtle die differences, are now among the most coveted specimens in the numismatic world. A single verified error can command staggering prices at auction. One remarkable case involved a near-perfect, uncirculated 1981 1-penny discovered in a sealed mint set during a private estate sale. Experts confirmed that the coin exhibited a faint doubling on the portcullis gate, a detail so minute that it could only be seen under magnification. When presented at a London auction, the bidding frenzy shocked even seasoned collectors. That single coin, once worth just a penny, fetched several £100,000. This event reignited global interest in the 1981 penny, turning it from a quiet collectible into a superstar of British coinage. What also contributes to its fame is the connection between the coin and a defining period in British history. The early 1980s saw social transformation, royal events, and economic reform. The wedding of Prince Charles and Lady Diana Spencer in July 1981 brought immense joy to the nation, and coins from that year are often associated with that era's optimism. To hold a 1981 penny is, in a sense, to hold a tangible fragment of that moment in time, the hopes, traditions, and spirit of a changing Britain encapsulated in bronze. Collectors and historians often emphasize that numismatics isn't just about rarity or value, it's about storytelling. Each coin is a time capsule, an artifact that carries whispers of the past. The 1981 Elizabeth II 1-penny stands as a bridge between generations, connecting the legacy of post-war Britain to the digital age. Its small size belies its monumental historical weight. In the modern collector's market, coins like this are increasingly seen as tangible investments. Unlike stocks or digital assets, coins have both intrinsic and historical value. A pristine 1981 penny in brilliant uncirculated condition, especially with a verified minting anomaly, is now considered a blue-chip collectible. As global demand for rare British coins continues to rise, the 1981 issue remains one of the most sought after, a must-have for any serious collection. Interestingly, even seasoned numismatists still debate how many authentic 1981 circulation pennies actually exist. The Royal Mint's own reports leave room for speculation. Some sources suggest that only a few thousand may have ever left the mint in mixed batches, while others claim that nearly all were reserved for proof and mint sets. This uncertainty only adds to the coin's mystique. It's not just a coin, it's a riddle carved in copper, a mystery that continues to inspire curiosity worldwide. Imagine holding one of these coins in your hand. Its smooth edges have witnessed 4 decades of silent history. The Queen's youthful portrait reminds us of her unwavering reign and the continuity of British heritage. The portcullis design, strong and steady, stands as a metaphor for Britain's enduring democracy. Every detail, from the crisp lettering to the faint gleam of aged bronze, speaks of an era when precision and pride guided every minting process. Today, collectors from the UK, the United States, Canada, and Australia compete fiercely to own a piece of this history. Online auctions, private sales, and dedicated coin fairs often see intense bidding wars for high-grade 1981 pennies. In recent years, reports of record-breaking sales have spread rapidly across the numismatic community. The coin's value has skyrocketed far beyond expectations, transforming from a humble penny into a millionaire's prize. For many, the emotional connection to this coin runs deep. It represents not just wealth, but heritage, a physical link to a time when craftsmanship mattered, when coins were miniature works of art, and when holding a penny meant something personal. That is the power of numismatics, the ability of a single object to tell countless human stories. As time moves forward, the 1981 Elizabeth II 1 penny continues to grow in legend. Its rarity, beauty, and historical significance make it one of the crown jewels of British coin collecting. Whether found in a forgotten drawer, a vintage coin set, or passed down through generations, each specimen carries immense potential, both sentimental and financial. After decades of fascination, research, and rediscovery, experts now agree that this coin stands among the rarest and most valuable 1-penny issues ever produced in the United Kingdom. Thank you for watching Ultra Rare Coins History, where we uncover the secrets and stories behind the world's most extraordinary coins. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more fascinating discoveries from the world of rare numismatics. Who knows? The next coin we explore might just be worth millions too.